Welcome back, everyone. That was a hell of a game from Immortals Challengers, and on the chat side of the rivalry, big ups for him as his Graves definitely not of the D tier ranking as XU might have chirped in our Raising NA podcast episode a couple of weeks ago. But I know that XU and Diamond were definitely on a mission to try and shut him down. But, to get through the game, I want to move into our halftime show segment before we get ready for our second game of the series. It is based from Misplaced, y'all. And so I have been scouring the internet. And by the internet, I mean just Twitch, Twitter, and Discord this time around. I was not able to get any Reddit takes, but I just want to roll right through them. And one of the big things is we already rolled out our most valuable prospect early conversations tier list, or just list in general. I know that a lot of people with fair criticism have already started, voicing opinions on some people that are missing. And that first take is just kind of a general sentiment across. I think I was mainly looking in the Name server as well as the Oracle's Elixir server, and the overall sentiment is curious that there were no nods or any Dignitas Challengers players in the 6 players that we showed on our graphic for most valuable prospect.
It's hard because the rules that we had, I actually would have had Tomo. He was leading everyone in gold diff at 15 in the league. I think that Tomo was having a fantastic split and actually had really upgraded his play, somewhat like what we saw from Dokla, who won in last spring compared to the last time that we saw him. So that would have been, that he was actually one of my front runners, and that's kind of where Lost actually came in for me. That I know that's a personal thing. I think that is a base take, and he would definitely was the one that was highest up on the list for me with Dignitas. So
Gabby, what are your thoughts on this so far?
Yeah, I mean, this one is hard because I'm not here presently from the start to now of NACL, so I don't I don't have a voice in the voting part, but I can see the the sentiment from being a viewer on the outside of when a team has been performing this way and wondering where is the presence in the nod. So I think Cubby put it well.
Yeah, and to also take a stance, I think this take is also based. Even though I'm not on the show every single week, I try to be in every single narrative and story meeting. And I think just when we came together for the first early conversations, even though we try to be aligned on the criteria, I think there was value being put in a lot of the kind of the excitement and flair of some of our first time split prospects like Masu and Young. But I know that later after this weekend at the end of the regular season, we're going to have a longer and more lengthier conversation about a final prospect list and then the player that we feel does deserve the most valuable prospects.
I get to push my mirror propaganda. It's going to be great.
and I definitely think there's a couple other players that now that I've had time to sit down and go back through some of the other VODs, I think that we missed the mark on, giving them the proper nod as well for the list. But, of course, moving on, I know Dignitas very, very vocal about one of their players campaigning for XU's most valuable prospect. It's tough to support that after a loss against Immortals Challengers, but I still respect the nod here, Cubby.
I mean, it was XU we sinned, you gotta get on the campaign train. For me, XU's had a really nice split, but I think the thing for me with Dignitas is that actually the way they've played and even the way they've talked about it is all right, we're gonna draft to win lanes and then face roll the game. And we have seen Dignitas do that quite a bit. But I know that as we've gotten to the back half of the split, I actually think some of our teams have gotten better, and that strat hasn't been as good for Dignitas. And that level 1 from IMT really broke the game for what XU wanted to do.
Yep.
Yeah, I think, XU definitely, when shines very brightly. And that's not just this year. That's something that when watching the play through and through, I'm going to say this is based because as the team, you want to see them be based in backing one of their players and campaigning for them for most valuable prospect, right? So I just think it's based that Dignitas is out there. They said, look, this is our homie. This is who we are pushing forward. So let's go. As
one of XU's biggest fans, ever since 2019. I always love shout outs and support for XU. For me personally, I think Insanity, if there's one player from this Dignitas Challengers roster, especially now with Tomo taking the starting role in the LCS team, I think Insanity should be the front runner for if you only had to pick one player to promote. So that's just kind of where my head is at. But moving on to the next one, now we're getting takes from Twitch. I think the first one is Matt Master 16. Trash support skin that Diamond selected looks like a Kennen ult every time he goes stealth. This is the Empyrean Pike skin, the one that we saw at Worlds, like featured on the performance.
I'm gonna go with base, or I should say base, because Blood Moon Pike or original Pike is the way to do it. That's my opinion. Actually, Project's pretty cool too. Yeah, so base overall, better options.
Yeah. That's definitely not one of the top skins. I think Project. I like the Project skins a lot. So
They're cool.
Yeah. Do better on the skin front.
I mean, Diamond's just trying to get the hot new thing. You know, that hot new skin that was at Worlds. It's just not working out for me. It was so hot, not now. You know. Cool. Yeah.
Not gonna lie, I didn't get to see most of the game as I was scouring for takes, but I did see it one time. I'm not sure if it actually looks like a Kennen ulti, so, you know, the misplaced that it looks like a Kennen ult, but I will agree that there are definitely cooler Pike skins.
It didn't stand out as a skin,
yeah.
I feel like, is what got to me.
Yeah. I think it's also one of his more expensive skins, which doesn't feel right. Like, it should look cooler, not just whatever.
Some people like the subtle, though, so you gotta put some skins out there for everyone's different taste, and maybe this is it for people like Diamond.
That is true. Art is subjective, and it's not going to hit with everyone. Moving on to our next Twitch take from ColeJosh12. Both supports going crazy, and I imagine this is specifically for this game, but I want to broaden this conversation point to the entire regular split between both Joey and Diamond. Both players, as we both know, or as we all know, have been in the Challengers League Academy circuit, you know, the developmental league for quite some time.
Yeah, I think that they show why they're staples, and when you're a support player, especially if you end up playing with different players at different points in time, it can be difficult to adjust your style. Maybe that comes from a communicative standpoint if you're a leader for the team, but I like seeing them both pop off. There's also something to be said when supports get to play Engage again and have hooks. It's just more fun to watch them do the things that make them look crazy. As oh, look at the Lulu shields. Wild growth, the right target, where it is just as intricate and just as important. It's just visually you don't always get the same effect. So
yeah, give me Joey Thresh hooks. They've been dynamite. And also, please stop letting Joey have Thresh. I feel like he's earned that ban, or at least a takeaway now.
True.
Diamond's Thresh is good too.
Well, for our last take, Cubby, you know, it's great that you guys mentioned, you know, hook champions and engage champions, because, you know, one of our most loyal and awesome fans out there, Astro Nautilus Text, says,
yes.
Cubby hates Nautilus and thinks
yes.
I'm a fake champ. When exposed to my win rate in pro play, he squirms.
Yes. We don't look at that. You know, actually, hold on. Let's look at Nautilus's win rate real quick in NACL, huh? Let's see. It's 48%. Okay. This champ, they did give him stats back, but he is paper. He used to lose the Lulu. It's gotten a little bit better. But why I hate Nautilus, just pick Braum, and Blitz has more stats. So
I do hate when people pick Nautilus and then they treat him like a Braum or someone early, and it's like, oh, he is paper unless you have your shield pop. You see that happen sometimes. But come on, Nautilus is dope. You just go and you connect with the depth charge into someone, and you get to watch as everything happens in succession. But yeah, I think like it's one of those champs that's going to be a bit polarizing in the way that it looks in game, depending how the team follows up, especially because you kind of go in with your hook as opposed to other ones. So whatever, Nautilus hater. Am I bullying properly, Rafa?
Yes.
Okay.
Great job, Gabby. We need to gang up on Cubby and put,
I like this champ.
Yeah, well,
Point and click, I get it, but you know, it's you can find value elsewhere. Blitz has an AoE silence. Come on.
Are you saying you would want to see a Blitzcrank in this next game, Cubby?
Yes, it got banned
Yeah,
before Nautilus got banned. It must be better.
All right.
That's my confirmation bias.
All right. Well, confirmation bias. We'll see if it leads into actual analytical points for you in this next draft, as we're heading into Game 2 between Dignitas Challengers and Immortal Challengers. So, see you on the flip side, y'all.
All right. See you later, Rafa. I know that Dignitas was already tweeting about, guess we got to go and draw again at 1-1. So they're in the right mindset, but I'm sure Immortals do not want that to happen.
Yeah, it's going to be something where IMT, I know coming into the last week, IMT, they really feel like, they got Balulu in late, ADD in late. They still have to make changes. Balulu hasn't even been scrimming with these guys this week. He's been scrimming with the LCS team, and he's just popped on in this week and helped them put some wins on the board. I think it really speaks to what Balulu is like as a player and a teammate to these guys. And IMT love to pick up another game as long as they have him in and give Dignitas that first 0-2 of the split.
Which is why Dignitas, remaining on blue side, have similar bans to the game number 1, where they are targeting Balulu with the Zoe, with the Vel'Koz, and don't want him to be able to flourish on those picks particularly. And now, Joey won't have the Thresh. We were just talking about it. The Thresh is now in Diamond's hands.
I might have teased that we have a good Thresh with Diamond too, and this is a lane where... Oh, boy. Okay, we have the spice. All right, Senna Cho'Gath locked in. You can do a lot with Senna on this patch. She's back. I will say there are a lot of flexes that you can play with Senna that we might not have seen before. And I want to see what those flexes will end up being. As I am also now curious if we have Aphelios taken, because Senna, I think, has actually a pretty good lane matchup into Aphelios, and you can now counter with support. So if that is going to be Aphelios, it is Spawn's best champ. I have a lot of confidence in him and Diamond can play this lane out well, just like we saw from Wixie and Joey, but still, Senna tech into it. I do like it. You outrange Aphelios pretty hard later.
I'm going for that comfort in these picks for the bot lane of Dignitas. Cubby, are you a fan of Senna metas when she comes back into it?
I love Senna. I think that Senna is... You can draft so creatively. I was actually... I was actually like talking with some of the teams, like, because Senna got buffed in the last patch, and they're all like, yeah, Senna's gonna be strong. We already like are on all the pairings. I've been saying for a long time, like, we have a lot of undiscovered pairings that are now meta at the moment, and we shall see if any of those get played. But at the moment, it's gonna be the Vi locked in, as have something to attack that Aphelios Thresh.
One of Chad's most played champs as of this year, and is the case for honestly most junglers, because Vi has been very, very popular and really trying to make an impact on the map once you hit that level 6. I do enjoy when Senna comes through and shakes things up in the draft. Sometimes she can overstay her welcome, depending, but I definitely like the direction this is going with shaking up the bot lane after spending the first months of the year with Lucianami, Zeri, and Lulu over and over and over again.
We have Cho'Gath now.
Yeah,
Woo!
we have Cho'Gath, and the NACL was playing Cho'Gath even before the changes were coming in on the patch because of that matchup against Sion specifically, but ADD has already played this pick.
I was on the Cho'Gath train beforehand. I don't know why this champ got buffs. It's sitting at a 73% win rate globally right now, just like on all patches. This champion, especially in the Sion, is really good, but you can blind it. And we have seen ADD. He blinded it yesterday. He's blinding it today. And I must say, one of the secret pairings with Senna might be actually Senna Cho'Gath. So we'll see if that gets played. I've been advocating for this lane into actually Aphelios Thresh specifically. So we still have options for IMT as we move through our draft.
Which is a great place to be in the latter portion of a draft when there's still some flexibility that you can offer and you haven't been too locked down by your opponents. Dignitas electing to lean even more into the mid lane bans, as that has not been locked in for IMT just yet. So they take away the Ahri, a pick that Balulu has played recently. And Ahri, obviously, she's not going to be in this game, but I feel like we're going to see her today, Cubby, because she's one of those picks when mid laners love to play her. So when she's viable, she definitely comes through in full force.
Summit pairs really well with the Vi. Actually curious though. Okay, we were hovering.
I was waiting for that
for
hover to like. I don't feel like this is where it's gonna go.
No. Yeah, I got a little scared there. As Bel'Veth metas. Yeah, no, that's the Bel'Veth meta is something, but instead it's going to be Seraphine. This is still a flex. This could go mid. This could go bot with a Senna. I guess that's what we've seen more of and some would expect. But it does mean that Cho'Gath is likely to be going top now, even if there are still some flexes available. And knowing that it will still be the Gnar for the side of Hoon. And now we'll have to see. Does Insanity want to go for something like the Jace here?
And Gnar will be that comfort again for Hoon, but I was just thinking, I believe that was the 100% win rate on Gnar prior to that last game. So Immortals taking the first victory against Hoon's Gnar this year thus far. But Dignitas with their last pick, it's going to be Wukong.
All right, so it's actually going to be that Gragas mid for Dignitas. I must say, Dignitas still don't know where everything's going for Immortals. Seraphine could go mid support. Cho'Gath could go top, maybe support. Expected to be top at this point. But Immortals, they have one more pick to try and rein everything in. As we'll see what ends up going where. And if we get another Vygar game, as that seems to be the call for Balulu. Okay.
All right, so sticking and running back with the same pick, I think that when you're thinking of that Event Horizon as a zoning tool as well as a lockdown, Balulu was doing so very effectively in that last game. And now the Seraphine really showing where she's going to be there down bot. What do you think, Cubby? Dignitas Immortals game number 2.
I mean, Immortals, again, they have so much peel on the way back, and Dignitas, they have to go in. You have Wukong, Gnar, Gragas, so I think it's a little bit of a stronger front line for Dignitas. I think they have tools as well, a lot of displacement that you can chain to make sure that that Senna Seraphine maybe gets split up or you knock one into your team, but it's not easy to execute that in the Vygar. And with the Rupture plus the Event Horizons, it will be a zoning nightmare that Dignitas have to deal with. So going to have to be really careful how they posture around objectives, because the odds that, you know, they're able to chain any of those CC tools into more, very high and very easy to execute on IMT.
I also just want to see how that will layer up with having the bot lane that Immortals do to follow up off of that zoning that Immortals have built into their draft. But game number 2, as we said, Dig have been splitting a lot of their series as of late. Fell to Immortals in game number 1, but are hoping to pick things up and reverse it here. A lot of the clustered movement that we're getting from a lot of these teams just to see if they can find that either initial pick or a vision establishment.
Yeah, just trying to get some of that priority in the bot lane if possible. As ADD, he's playing the Loch Ness Cho'Gath. He's been playing different Cho'Gath skins every time. But we did see into the Gnar yesterday. He actually went Rod of Ages Cho'Gath into Deadman's and then Force of Nature. And ADD actually getting real spicy. He's still his bot side. He's like, maybe I could fish for one more Rupture here with the guys. You know, maybe we can find someone.
And ADD, speaking of, I wish Hoon and ADD would have had a gentleman's agreement to both do the gentleman's skin.
That is
These
the right.
are both
Cho'Gath
top
skin.
laners that have that. And wouldn't that be so wonderful if they were just matching and bashing into each other politely with monocles on? But we won't have that this time around.
That is the only Cho'Gath skin. I actually told the story, or the only one that, you know, you should be using. I told the story the other day about how that skin was actually created. If you aren't a longtime League of Legends fan, I was actually used to do referrals, as we're going to get a flash out of Wixie in the bot side. Used to be referrals, and if you got enough, I think it was like 1,000 referrals, you could design your own skin. And that is how Gentleman Cho'Gath came to be. A fan, designed their own skin, and it was that skin.
Oh, well, you look at that.
Yeah.
That's
Pretty
a
fun.
nice anecdote to drop down. I feel like my brain just grew.
That's some old League lore right there. That is like the ancient client.
So some way back, which is so funny. That's such contrast to when you're looking at like this bot lane, right, with the newer champions. Like, think how different Cho'Gath is and the skins for Cho'Gath compared to Senna and Seraphine on this bot side that, you know, are definitely the newer age.
Actually, not spotted here, as he has the red buff. Is going to go try and find Shad.
Sees him. Shad handling the dash to get on out. Patient response to XU showing down here, and ADD getting some initial chunks by Hoon.
Yeah, well played here on the side of XU. If you have red buff as Wukong, you do just win out against Vi. XU taking full advantage of that, as he knows that his bot lane can back him if he so chooses. But at the moment, he's actually walking past the blue buff. As Dignitas, they want to dive.
And they're looking for it. There's a nice wave coming at the ready. So Dignitas making sure to prep that with their bot lane. Chad on that lane positioning to see if he can match XU as soon as XU comes to show. Diamond stepping on forward. The root thrown on out and the follow-up root as well. Diamond flashing in response to the flash. Chad and the team still under turret, and Dignitas, they don't get any of the kills, but plenty of summoners expelled.
Good defense coming out of IMT. Now, unfortunately, Chad, he defends his bot lane. It's not for nothing. He's going to lose his blue buff. He's going to lose the bot crab. So actually with the 3 camp and aggression is still able to get ahead. But importantly, that bot lane holds strong, and they're able to still pick up experience. I think that for this bot lane, the fact that they did not get dove, that was an early game plan here for Dig.
Oh, stun onto ADD. Response there, and Hoon, the first blood on that solo level, baby.
Yeah, that's why you're drawing Narbands, man, because you do stuff like that. He finds the solo kill, and now XU, he's going back bot.
Oh, the root, the follow-up, the flash away from Spawn, the flash forward by Joey, the play by Diamond to create the space. Can't quite connect, but XU is here in response. Diamond does go down, but let's see what Wukong can do. Manages to take out Joey. Wixie, you're going to be pretty squishy even here on the exit as XU manages to track for some time. Just keep on rolling. Gonna get the root in response, though. Over the wall with the clone. More bashes to be had, but Joey is here at last. The root onto XU. Gonna get another one. Gets it onto Wixie, and now Joey can't do enough on his own. No blast cone, but a little bit of a slow. Doesn't get the double hit. All the while, Chad on the top side, a stun and gun down. Insanity with the kill credit. Both sides of the map getting a little bit of crazy shenanigans.
And it's all coming up Dignitas as XU able to clean up bot lane, the mess that happened. I mean, credit to IMT. They were almost dove. They turned around the 2v2 very early. But Dignitas, they're the ones that have all the answers as Chad falls. And now Hoon, he doesn't care about the wave. He just wants Cho'Gath.
Nah, already got a solo kill. Looking for another. Is taking some of the aggro from this wave, though. Gets into Mega Gnar form. Diamond is here. Can he help enough? Is he even needed? Hoon stepping towards. Has the lantern for some shielding and beyond. Flash over the wall and a hit by Hoon. Absolutely smashing up here on the top side.
And we're going back to the Dignitas that we've seen all split here in NACL, why they've been one of our top teams and why they've got to be O2'd, and that is lane dominance. These players in lane, they pick winning lanes and they win with them. What they do with these lanes is more than other teams that we have in the league. And I mean, he didn't even care about the mini wave, man. He just like full went in, no cares in the world. Chad got stuck. I mean, everything's just coming up Dig.
Knew that Mega Gnar was coming and just followed up. I mean, Cubby, I feel the caffeine really hitting me, and I feel Dignitas coming in with that energy. I'm liking what I'm seeing from this early game, and even when things don't quite work out, they're doubling down. And you know, I'm not gonna lie, it's looking a little dicey in moments, right? XU, that could have been a very narrow margin of being way an overextension, but he at least manages to get that kill before going down. And again, the follow-up of aggression down here on this bot side as Chad remains the XU ready to match.
The plays that IMT has, again, this team, they do scale very hard. Their ability to control space with the Vigar, with the Seraphine, with the Cho'Gath is going to be significant later, but at the moment, they're still so far behind. And Dignitas, they bring XU into the bot side. He's up a level on the Chad. I think it's just going to be Dig trying to get this wave in so they can start up the Dragon.
Yep, over 1.5k gold lead for Dignitas here at 7 minutes. All of this aggression across the map working in their favor, which is why off of that pressure on bot side, they can go ahead and start up this Dragon, the first of the game. And yeah, even just when looking at the rest of the map, right, we have Insanity, who has a kill already, matching off against Balulu, and the advantages for Dignitas, they're not centralized in one location. They are spread across this team.
I mean, the big one for me is the fact that Gnar's so far ahead, because this is a matchup where you really can't, like, it should be somewhat Cho'Gath favored until Black Cleaver comes in, and then Gnar can kind of win on the sides. But now that Cho'Gath is behind, you can actually see ADD not going for the Rod of Ages that we saw from him in this matchup, much like yesterday. It looks like he's going to have to change his build path, go for something a little bit more defensive.
Just to be able to survive a bit longer than he's been able to thus far in these duels, especially when we've had support intervention up there. And Dignitas, Dragon in pocket, feeling good about their play so far. They've got their threats. So if you're looking from the perspective of Immortals, Cubby, aside from ADD building a little bit more in that tanky direction to improve that durability, then what do you think they're looking at as their condition to stabilize right here and create advantages later?
Oh, it's just time. Get the Vigard, the stacks, get Seraphine, an item or two. I think that 2+ items is where IMT is going to start to feel really good. So I think at this point, it's just anything that you can use to kind of slow down the tempo, the pace for Dignitas. They should sack this upcoming Rift Herald. I think it's, like, honestly, at this point, we're already looking for, like, do they fight the third dragon or not? Because I didn't even think the second dragon they can even think about fighting, given the comp they have versus Dignitas's.
There's no reason to take aggression in a scenario where you are not likely to come out. Bololo flashing a response there to Insanity, who I think it's important to note one thing that has been impressive Insanity from the time in LCS as well as in NACL and Academy in the past is I always appreciate what he brings through in the champ pool and offering that diversity, playing meta things and always having an Azir, having things like Ryze to be able to roam across, but be willing to play those melee champs or those more team servicing champions when it ends up in the win later on for them. So right now on the Gragas doing exactly that.
I think it speaks a lot to Dignitas too. Like, I know from talking with them earlier in the split, like Insanity was just really happy to have Diamond in because like they can talk about the game a lot, and they definitely think about the game. I would say not like in some ways like in a linear manner, but in other ways a very creative manner. Like this is a team where they're like, our scrim record's not that good because we like to try a lot of things in scrims. They really appreciate, you know, trying things, trying to discover in the game, trying to force the limits of what you can do. And so no surprise to me that Insanity is able to, you know, pull out something like the Gragas that has really risen in priority for the second time so far this split in this game.
It's one thing to have a creative player. It's another to pair them with other creative players so you can really unlock that within the team context, because it's easy when something doesn't work out for teams that are a bit more stuck in their structured approach to get kind of cold feet and experimenting beyond that, right? So the fact that they're willing to do that in scrims, take the scrim L that doesn't matter in the end to expand their skill set and their approach to the game will always be a long-term advantage, not just for the team as a whole, but the individuals themselves on their journey of growing as players.
Speaks a lot to the improvement mindset that I know Dignitas has. Also, so we got fans recognizing the fact that Aphelios Thresh 4 games in a row for IMT. Yeah, probably good that it was denied. As well as, you know, some nice compliments your way. Hey, welcome to that ACL.
What do I... Oh, hey, let's go. I was like, I didn't see my name there. Well, thank you, Brizzy. Appreciate the support. And I always love getting to be here in NACL. You know me, Cubby. I want to keep my hands in the stories of these players and watching them develop. I personally think it is so much more rewarding when they make their debuts in the LCS, when you have that context and get to watch them grow over time. So let's go.
Well, I don't have permission from Rafa to bully you today, so it's a pleasure to have you. Glad that you're on the broadcast with us. So we got more dragons coming up. As I don't think IMT can even sniff fighting this one, as Rafa got in our ear.
Yep.
Yeah, good times.
You saying you'll end me, Rafa? All right.
Something like that. But anyway, we've got Immortals.
If you talk the other word that he said that I won't say on broadcast about me, then you will be ended. So be careful, Cubby. Just like we need Insanity to be careful across here on the mid lane. A lot of presence by Immortals to follow up. Chad goes for it. XU wants to get the return. Everything thrown out from Joey to get that continuous lock. But in the end, Diamond rooted under the tower, throws out the hook, which ushers the flash from Joey. Spawn wanting to go for it. Moonlight Vigil, or the attempt right here onto one, but cannot get the follow-up of the damage just yet. So now turning the sights onto Balulu. Under the turret he goes. Oh, when you put that fish into the barrel, it becomes that much scarier. But there's a lantern here from Diamond to be able to create some safety. Just look at the way that Spawn can sustain in these fights and offered that threat when rotating on over, but Dignitas and Immortals getting scrappy across mid after Immortals go for that play onto Insanity.
You can see the threat from Immortals, how they're able to chain the CC together when they have tools like the Vigar, like the Seraphine, with the cease and assist. But they're behind, and they get a good kill onto Insanity, but because it's Gragas, look at how much they have to burn. As Gragas, it's Flash Ult, it's a really nice chain. They actually didn't connect with the Event Horizon. He was able to get out of it. Chad cleans him up in the end, but then XU flashes in to make sure Chad takes tower shots. Diamond flashes in to end Chad. And on the back half, Spawn actually really was able to step up. He doesn't find the kill on the Joey. I think he could have found it if he connects with the ultimate, but Joey was able to sidestep. Yeah, and at least stepping up, able to find him in the back half.
Yeah, so, at this point in the game when Dignitas have created such advantages across multiple members, then it makes sense for Immortals to want to find these picks and try to edge their way through. They do have some champions on which they will happily rely as the game goes on, so just seeing if they can shore things up here in the meantime. And with the second dragon for Dignitas, it's a Cloud Soul eventually.
Ooh, so we actually have an Everfrost from Cho'Gath this game. So even more ability to chain up that CC against a melee-heavy composition too. I did say yesterday that I thought the Rod wasn't a kill threat on the Gnar. You'd need Everfrost for that, so Cho'Gath actually has a bit of kill threat now in this matchup, as he does go with this build. It does have the potential to chain things, but Hoon has been playing very, very well in this top lane matchup. But he's going to have a Trinity Force when he bases, so Hoon going to be pretty strong.
And the fact that Hoon has been getting strong across this time, and that's a pick that's going to be very helpful in the fight. The double hit here from Joey, working very well on the Seraphine, and then throwing out that ultimate just to make sure that no plays can be had by Dignitas to kill off a very squishy bot lane.
You can see Immortals, though. It is a 3.5k gold lead for Dignitas. I expect that they should be able to take this next Rift Herald, too. You can see how Immortals are somewhat stabilizing some of these lanes, like Balulu up in CS. Oh, hold on.
Oh, Balulu throws down the E to keep Insanity away. Attempt over the wall for the Embrace, but Dignitas now wanting to move forward, see if they can get some aggressive warding for themselves. They've already done a great job of ushering all of these control wards across the entirety of the river and the line of scrimmage, whereas Immortals are a bit lacking, looking for their next opportunity to set up.
Dignitas, though, they got mid-prio. They could set up on this bot wave. It is a cannon. A lot of wave clear from the Seraphine. Chad's here to hover.
Right here in Try, there's wards from both sides, so IMT know that XU and Insanity are here. Balulu wants to go for the lock. A little poke onto XU, but the attempt by Dignitas nicely set off by that previous ward from Immortals, who can now venture forward.
They still might be looking for a pinch. As you can see, XU, okay, he still has Chad spotted. He's actually looped around. He's gotten around a ward, and this could be bot again, but you can see the wave clear from Seraphine now that Joey's double 9 has that lost chapter. That wave gets deleted, and there's no play.
XU was waiting for a chance to dash away because Chad was looking for the connect. And they've been focusing so much on this bot side. You see that the turret is fairly low, and every time they can step up to it with a wave, Dignitas does chunk into it a pretty decent amount. So they're just trying to bide their time by their continuous presence and playing a bit more safely with the fact that XU has been hovering around that bot side and really matching Chad on both sides.
And they have been able to grow that gold lead to 4k because of all the shove they've had. No turrets taken yet, as Immortals continue to try their best to slow this game down. And Insanity.
Cease and desist onto Insanity. Gets the stun onto Chad. The rail gun from downtown with Wixie. But nothing killed off, and because of the lack of presence on the bot side from IMT, Spawn able to finally complete the destruction of that turret.
And that's going to be Rift Herald going over to the side of Dignitas. Again, respect some of the attempts we're seeing from IMT to try and find something. When you are scaling, you can't just sit back and die. You have to find your windows to have or be aggressive. But when that doesn't connect, it does mean you lose things on the map. It could be bot turret taken, rift herald taken, and should be good setup for Dignitas as we approach this third dragon. And that's where I'm really starting to question the Tigers. When are we going to see IMT find that team fight? They have a lot of tools, but they feel like they're too far behind, and do they want to wait one more dragon?
Yeah, you get to that point where you think, okay, they've got some late game tools, they got some team fighting tools, and then, you know, we're at 18, and it's, okay, there's still time, but at the same time, Dig is continuing to roll with their advantage. And with this next dragon in 45 seconds being sole point for Dignitas, do Immortals want to contest? They might just wait and try and take a safe play around it if they're trying to scale up a bit more. But by the positioning right now, they're already in the river. They're already waiting for a step up from Dignitas.
Oh, the Senna speed up too to help with the Vigar. Try and get that event horizon in position. Falls short there as Dignitas able to kite it out. Still is bot river control for IMT, and at the moment they are grouped. They do have TP from ADD if he wants to join. Same with Hoon. Hoon did just pop Mega. So I think Dignitas and Hoon might try and stack that up again before starting this dragon.
Yes, that's going to be a very important tool for Dignitas when they go into this. They do have Insanity with the ults. Got ults galore, actually, to try and keep IMC under control. And this is where that Rift Herald, very nice. Get this down ahead of this dragon. You throw this into the mid turret, able to finally get the deconstruction there. So 2 turrets in favor of Dignitas. First rotation over towards River. That Scuttle was previously acquired by Immortals, so they have that going for them. But
XU?
Dignitas, we're waiting for the chance to enter. Look how quickly XU got burned. And in the center of it all, the Gragas ultimate to throw Immortals away. They've lost their jungler for Dignitas, but they can keep the pressure up onto Immortals, so they can't necessarily engross in an aggressive way.
Heal.
There's still 15 seconds plus before XU comes back into it. The hook, you got some flashes taken off of Immortals. Joey, Bolulu, no flash available to them. They're starting up on their rotation into the river. ADD's been making his way from the base this entire time. Did not have to use teleport. And here we are getting started. XU has respawned, but there's already aggression onto the dragon as it stands. Chad in the vicinity. Hoon wanting to work up, about to get into Meganar, and because of that, IMT do have to back away. The double stun up and the knock up on the Gnar. The rail gun across. You take down Gnar. You take down the team, but Chad eliminated in the process. But it's still Immortals coming out on top. Finally, XU has made his way to the vicinity, but look at the damage. Insanity's getting the lockdown. He and Diamond, though, can't stand up to the remaining members of Immortals. With tails between their legs, they retreat over into the mid lane, but at the same time, it's everyone gone from the Dragon, Cubby.
And Immortals, they pulled it off being down this much gold. That's the power of their composition when they group. You can see the zone they can buy for their team. And Dignitas, with XU being removed immediately, that's the trigger pull. That's how they engage. That's how they can fight on their terms. IMT, they were just able to stall out that fight, use the sustain of the Senna Seraphine, and actually found themselves a really good angle, and they've dealt... Oh, hold on. Oh, okay. Oh, no.
Oh, no. Insanity went for the play, threw out the explosive cast, but couldn't get the last hit.
I hear some all chat typing too. Dignitas, they love their all chat. They have to be throwing around some fun things after that. But again, take another look at this one. IMT, when they stall things out, you can see the line heals from the Senna, the boosted up W from Seraphine. It is so much health being topped off onto the side of Immortals. And watch Hoon. This is how this comp can function. It's just everything thrown in at the same time. We can't get the rest of the replay, though, because we're still fighting.
Still fighting.
Okay, good night. Okay.
Chad, to bed you go. And Dignitas, you know.
Last fight, we had XU removed first, and it's only fair that Chad gets removed first for this one, right?
Mm-hmm. And, I mean, Dignitas, their response to that is going and collapsing upon the dragon, but I think you do still have to be somewhat careful of if Immortals do try to get you. It's because of the wards that they've positioned on forward for Dignitas that they feel secure in doing this. So, stacking those continuously, that's sole point for Dignitas here at 22 minutes.
At least IMT were able to stall out that timer. As you can see, Bolulu has that completed tier. Oh boy, okay, Dignitas again. They want to push the pace of the game still. Actually, have hit this Baron. We'll use that to sneak into the top side. Maybe they're trying to cut off Chad. Oh, not again.
Oh, Chad go boom again. And Dignitas coming up on top of the play. Another hit of the hook. Another kill. The double for Spawn. Look at the lockdown in the play. And more Diamond gets it this time when it comes to taking down Wixie. But it don't matter who gets the kill credit as long as he kill him, baby. Ahead of this Baron. Dignitas really stringing together this play throughout this game.
I mean, just 2 mistakes from Immortals, and that's the Dragon, that's the Baron, and Dignitas back in total control. As Chad gets caught twice, it leads to the rest of IMT getting caught, and the setup again from Dignitas, they just take mid-priority, they have the turret down, go work their way into the Baron. Chad, spotted out. He goes down, A to the, another death sentence from Diamond, doing his best Joey impression here on the Thresh. We did say both these supports have damn good Threshes. Glad we're seeing it here. Also love the flash away from XU just to get out of that charm. Great angle from Insanity. That's too easy from Dignitas.
Yeah, I felt like after things didn't go as well for them in that one dragon fight, they kind of felt this, well, they did that and we were ahead. Let's try and pick up the pace a little bit before they continue to close the gap and then offer more and more of a threat. So immediately stringing together that dragon take alongside of a Baron take. We're so good when we lose game 1. Yes, Dignitas, yes. Clearly.
Back. They haven't been 0-2 this year.
Yeah.
So it's been good for Dig. We will see now. They can make sure they wrap up the rest of this game. Again, any mistakes against Immortals, there is a lot of zone control and AoE. Dignitas can get picked off the way they have been able to punish IMT. So still going to have to be carefully treading, but it will be a lot of gold in their pockets from this Baron.
And with that, making sure that they can bring purple minions to 2 of their lanes. So sending Insanity over towards mid so he can empower in that way, matched currently by Balulu, but keeping the majority of Dignitas right around this bot side. You gotta be wary of that, though. Look at knocked up, charm, silence, all the things. The ultimate into the backline onto Hoon, who is just now getting into Meganar, knocks back a couple and gets back in touch with XU and Diamond, who will use the blast cone to escape IMT. IMT trying to make sure they pull that trigger before Hoon was able to get into Meganar mode.
No Aphelios, no fight, and that Cho'Gath finding the Aphelios Thresh so good there for Immortals. As, again, this Cho, his ability... Oh, hold on.
They're still going for it. Diamond throws down the box and a play of 2 more forward. Dignitas, they said, no, you kept coming after us, and that's just not going to pay off. Look at the speed afforded to them as XU swinging away onto Chad, bringing the rivalry to full effect. The teleport usage here attempts to disconnect from the fight at hand, but Dignitas punish.
Balulu couldn't join again. He doesn't have the TP.
No.
And so it was a 4v4 for the side of Dig. They had their tools up, and they laid a trap, sprung it. IMT fell victim to it. And, the last few times we've seen IMT try and sneak into this game, Dignitas, they have shut that window quickly.
Very quickly. Locked it. They deadbolt it. They're making sure all of the little knickknacks are in place for them to try and seal off this game. The lead for themselves continuously growing. 26 minutes in. A full minute until that next dragon spawns. So while they're not exactly looking at the winning push at this very second, as we are no longer wearing purple for this squad, they still have objectives that they can set up for and continue to keep that pressure onto Immortals.
40 seconds until Dragon. Actually, that reset was spotted. Maybe IMT can use that to sneak in. I mean, the good part about having a Cho'Gath is that this isn't the tankiest Cho'Gath build, but you can use him to face check. It's not bad.
Big old body.
Love it, though. IMT actually very scared to walk in this bot side jungle. It looks like they're sacking.
And it looked for a moment.
No, yeah, never mind.
Oh, coming back on through. Dignitas, though, they've had their chance to back and come back in full force ahead of this dragon that's coming up in 10 seconds. A little bit of a ring around the rosy here. See who wants to make the first move. I mean, Spawn, especially on this Aphelios, has been looking pretty good in the fight.
That green-white setup's really good. And Dignitas at any point They're just trying to zone IMT on this side of the map, but at any point they can send one person back to try
There you go
take it.
for it. Yeah, bringing out the box, bringing out more, bringing out slow onto ADD. Chad dashing away to rejoin Immortals, but it's XU wanting to zone them off into the center. The stun and the pop onto XU. Balulu into stasis he goes. Wixie throwing down the ultimate. Balulu over the wall, but followed up by Diamond. Will not be long for this world as Immortals are on the retreat. 2-for-1 trade. Dignitas with the advantage.
And we were talking about how, you know, this comp from Immortals, you got to play slow, buy your time, stack your CC. Dignitas did that exactly to them, just waiting for Diamond to find that death sentence before they converted it. And Diamond on his Thresh, the return, the first pick Thresh, 4-1-13 this game. He's been fantastic.
Agreed. Playing very superbly, and a lot of the reason they're able to take down some of the threats like ADD, yes, you're saying it's not the tankiest build, but it's still something that you want to not have to worry about, standing between you and the carries to close that distance on them. And I think Dignitas have been playing this game very well. Now wearing a Dragon Soul of the Cloud variety, they've been looking good, Cubby, looking good.
Just to bounce back for Dig again, you know, maybe kind of like how they treat their scrims. Say, hey, we don't have the best win rate, but we do play to learn. The right mindset as we get closer and closer to playoffs for this team is still trying to be a threat. And oh boy, IMT, they're in trouble.
And Sanity's looking for the angle, throws down the explosive cast, get the knock on a couple, but they take down Wixie, and that's one of the biggest threats. They take down Joey too. So the biggest sources of poke and keeping at bay and lockdown when you ain't got that Seraphine around, Dignitas. They're definitely setting up over towards this top side. They were able to offer so much warding because of their previous picks on this jungle fight. And now Immortals are working against that if they hope to claw themselves back into this game. Yes, Chad is up and Chad is the jungler, but you're down, yo. And Dignitas, they look like they know that this Baron is theirs for the taking. The channel coming in, Chad coming through, but XU secures it. Balulu says, uh-oh, no. Insanity kill credit to him, but Dignitas 25-9 on the board.
Insanity's doing some belly dancing too. As this Gragas, there's a reason it's seen a lot of bans and a lot of high priority. Doesn't matter where you play it, it can be effective, as Insanity's done some damn good work on it in the back half of this game, especially. And Dignitas putting the finishing touches on what's looking to be another split. Really good showing from them after dropping game one. This start to finish was all Dignitas.
It makes sense why even after these losses, they're still so confident going into game number 2. Immortals making their last stand against Dignitas, but as soon as you rake in ADD and Joey's to follow, Wixie upon spawning back should be eliminated. Now Dignitas looking to keep their 1-1 history alive. A triple from Spawn to finish it, and a victory at that.
Hell of a game from Dig. They won out every lane early. XU kind of helped, but also he got ahead in the process of that. And props to Spawn and Diamond. Like, they were given a lot of bot lane priority with XU's 3 camp to go down bot. They got an advantage, and they did a lot with it from there. As Diamond, I think, ended the game 4-1-20. I mean, that's like a solo queue stat line.
Yeah, for sure. Props to Diamond, props to the rest of the team for the overall victory in that game. But after the break, there's one player we're hearing from in particular, because it's Hoonin time. We'll see you in that Verizon post-game interview with more NACL to come.
What's up, y'all? We have Hoon on the interview desk for his first interview of the spring split of North American Challengers League, or the LCS Challengers League 2023. The last time we talked to you, Hoon, was back in summer when you first came over here and made your debut in the Challengers League. So it's a pleasure to finally have you back. I want to get right away to talking about your overall regular season. How do you feel you have performed this split so far?
Man, honestly, like my performance is better than the last split, but like I feel like my performance is not like this so good or something. So just need to improve more.
Okay. Is there something specific you would like to improve? Is it your laning? Is it your team fighting? What would you like to improve?
It's kind of both, but like more team fight and like it's after lane page, like my movement about that.
Okay. So movement across the map, maybe
Yeah.
communication with
Yeah.
teammates as well. Okay.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about your teammates. So your teammates XU, Insanity, Tomo, now Spawn,
Yeah.
and Diamond. How do you like working with this team?
I mean, just I like this team. It's my first NA team, but mm, actually, and they beat two Dave. We have two Dave, and also I play with like before, summer
Yeah.
with Spawn too. Just this is second split. Like, just I love this team. I love this team.
Yeah. Yeah, they're a good bunch of guys. Is there someone on this team you really like to hang out with the most?
Oh, what means hang out?
Spend free time with the most. Who do you like to spend
Oh.
free time with the most?
I mean, when we free time, like I don't know, other guys doing like other games. So when I'm free time, just I play solo queue or like champs queue. So it's kind of like we when we meet in champs queue, we're having fun like that.
Okay. Yeah. Well, let me ask you this then, Hoon. Who on your team is the funniest person?
Funniest?
Yeah.
It's hard to choose. Like Lawrence actually is not most, I think. Maybe Diamond or maybe two David is most fun.
Both of the Davids are really
Yeah,
funny.
both David.
Both
Yeah.
Diamond and Insanity. The two
Insanity
Davids
and Diamond.
crack you up the most. Hell yeah. Is there something specific they do that is funny? I
Just
guess-
kind of.
Yeah.
Huh? Just kind of random things. say random things and just yeah. That's all.
I mean, we have seen the comms on Twitter from both Insanity and Diamond. Do you remember the play they made when they shot the
You mean
Ash arrow?
Ash
Yeah.
arrow and like Udyr mid?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, just kind of like that. That guy's just random.
Yeah. Just random stuff, but you know,
Yeah.
it makes you laugh, and sometimes that's what you need to help glue the team together. It's always good vibes with the squad.
Yeah. Just,
Uh, Yeah. I want to talk to you now about playoffs. What are your goals for playoffs?
I mean, of course, like we win NACL, like,
Mhm.
and just honestly, our like before 3 weeks ago, like before 3 weeks, our performance was pretty fine or good. But after 3 weeks, like not like that good, just going bad. But just we find way and just play better as playoff.
Yeah. So, you feel like your first 3 weeks was pretty good and aligned with where you guys wanted to be. Afterwards, it didn't really meet your expectations, so you're hoping that by playoffs, everything comes together.
Yeah.
And, you know, obviously you guys are one of the contenders for winning Challengers League this split. Is there a goal you have for yourself as an individual by the end?
Just my goal is not only like NSCL win, you know, like just my goal is honestly is kind of like someone is love for this, but my goal is like more high. At first is go LCS, but like more higher, like go world or something like that.
Wow. And I remember that from the last time we talked to you in summer that you said not only your goal was LCS but also to go to Worlds. And we know that the progression you've made from last summer split is awesome to see. So we've been a fan of you and Hoon in time whenever you get to bust out and have a great game. So again, thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview with us. We've been asking for weeks and weeks, and we're so happy that you feel comfortable enough to talk to us. So we really appreciate your time here, Hoon. Is there, before I let you go, is there anyone else that you would like to shout out or give thanks to today?
I'm just thanks for our teammates and like management, Toby, so everyone. Like we kind of have like some hard times, but just my teammates still like try to hard. Just thankful.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah. Well, thank you again, Hoon, and shout outs to your
Thank you
team
too.
and manager Toby as well. When we come back after this break, we'll be getting ready for our second series of the day between FlyQuest Challengers and Golden Guardians Challengers. So, see you then.